May I tell you something about Americans that you may not like to hear? That provocative question was asked by a French friend, Pierre, as we sipped wine in the warm sun outside a Mediterranean cafe. Of course, I said honestly. It's this, Pierre said. We love Americans, but they are incredibly naive, almost like children. Americans will believe anything. Pierre and I had that exchange 15 years ago, and I am still haunted by his words. The more I thought about it, the more I suspected that Pierre was right. Kurt Anderson, the American novelist and host of NPR's Studio 360, sealed it for me in his 2017 expose, Fantasyland: How America Went Haywire. In the first chapter, Anderson wrote, Americans have given ourselves over to all kinds of magical thinking and belief in fanciful explanations that console or thrill or terrify us. And most of us haven't realized how far-reaching our strange new normal has become. Magical thinking is nothing new in America. Salem Puritans executed 20 witches and sorcerers and 2 satanic dogs 4 generations before the signing of the Declaration of Independence. But don't fool yourself. Fanciful thinking is not a forsaken, archaic American custom. In a 2010 Pew Research poll, 41% of those surveyed said Jesus would return before 2050. On a personal note, in 2008, the pastor who conducted the memorial service for my mother said, "Don't worry about Helen's passing. Jesus will return within the year, and we'll all see her again." In the same Pew survey, 25% of the respondents believed in astrology, including 23% of Christians. Reincarnation was equally popular, 23%, while 29% said they had been in touch with the dead. In fact, 18% reported that they had seen or been in the presence of ghosts. But ironically, only 32% believed that evolution was true. In contrast, Norwegians either fully agreed, 59%, or somewhat agreed, 24% with evolution. Even in Mexico, 64% of the respondents believed humans and other living things evolved over time. Popular culture reflects and intensifies our affinity for magical thinking. Consider the 5 biggest box office movies of the 21st century. Their earnings converted to 2017 dollars. Number 1, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, made in 2015, $969 million. Number 2, Avatar, 2009, $857 million. The Avengers, 2012, $758 million. The Dark Knight, 2008, $608 million. Shrek 2, 2004, $573 million. All fantasy movies. And lest you think I'm cherry-picking, the next 10 highest-grossing films are also pure fairyland, including 2 Spider-Man flicks, 2 Star Wars blockbusters, 2 films from the Harry Potter series, and sundry movies about Caribbean pirates, hobbits, talking toys, Toy Story, and teenagers fighting to the death, The Hunger Games. As you might guess, the 21st century best-selling books followed the same cultural propensity for fantasy. Harry Potter, Robert Langdon, 50 Shades of Grey, Twilight, and The Hunger Games. Of course, the influence does not stop there. You can attend one or more of 25 conventions across the nation whose themes are the supernatural, Vampire Diaries, and Star Trek. You will be among 10,000 other attendees, all vying for a glimpse at one of their fantasy heroes. Or maybe you would rather be a star yourself. You're in luck. In 2000, the first reality TV show, Survivor, aired on CBS. Today, there are 400 reality shows, also designed to make you the star you always fancied. If you don't want to wait for your big break, sign up with Celeb for a Day and be a grand celebrity with 6 personal paparazzi, 1 bodyguard, 1 publicist, 1 limousine, 2 hours of non-stop action, and your own magazine cover, all for $1,500 plus your flight to Los Angeles, San Francisco, or Manhattan. However, it may not happen right away. There's currently a long waiting list. The degree of passion around so much make-believe is astounding. I remember meeting a young cashier who had a tattoo that ran the length of her arm. It looked like Chinese characters, so I asked, "What does your tattoo say?" "It says, 'Glory, power, and destiny,'" she murmured, her eyes all dewy with emotion. "Really? What language is it?" "Klingon." "And what is that on your other arm?" "It's the English translation." Believe it, Americans are swirling in a vat of fantasies. These are a few of the cultural influences that have seeped into our national consciousness in my lifetime. Bewitched, The X-Files, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the World Wrestling Federation, Survivalists, Fantasy Football, LSD, Playboy Magazine, Las Vegas, Reno, Disneyland, state lotteries, James Bond, superheroes, Life After Life, Chariots of the Gods, the late great planet Earth, Jim Jones, David Duke, Rush Limbaugh, UFOs, alien abductors, gangster rap, McCarthyism, the domino effect, white racial victimhood, Breitbart News, birtherism, and alternative facts. Some may be thinking, well, so what? What's wrong with a little fantasy? I'm glad you asked. If we are mindlessly preoccupied with the insidious distractions of fantasies, we are less likely to notice or even care that politicians are stealing elections, that wars are being orchestrated, that healthcare is skyrocketing, that the world is warming, that 43 million Americans are living in poverty, that the CEOs are earning 400 times the salary of their employees. So, in the name of reason, do not stand idle. Teach your children and grandchildren to be fiercely discerning about what is real and what is make-believe. As Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. If we plod numbly, insensibly, from season to season, unaware of the fantastic follies that are festering and searing our souls, we are no longer the masters of our own destinies. We are the victims, and the villains are us.